another episode of Trail Talks. Hi and welcome everyone, I'm Laval, and today's interview is someone who has been looking forward for this for about an entire week. So please welcome Outlaws from the West to the, I would say studio, but we're in a camp. So welcome Outlaws from the West to the camp.
How's it going, Laval? Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Outlaws, could you tell a little bit about yourself before the interview starts?
Yeah, sir. So I'm sure you could probably tell from my accent. I'm from America, United States. I grew up in the northeast corner, a little state called Connecticut. Very hard to find on the map, but I've also spent some time really elsewhere and ultimately all over the world. I lived in Dallas, Texas for a couple years. I lived in Baltimore, Maryland for a couple years. And I even spent 6 weeks in India for work. So fortunate enough to be able to travel all over. I ultimately settled back in Connecticut with my family. I'm married. It'll be 12 years in October.
Damn.
And
Congratulations.
I have two kids. Oh, thank you. I have two kids, two twin girls, Avery and Morgan. Avery has Down syndrome. We did a little special featurette earlier this week on my channel for World Down Syndrome Day. I think maybe we'll talk about a little more about that a little later on. But yeah, ultimately today, my claim to fame is just being dad, and I really get a big kick out of it. Every day is a new adventure with my kids. I'm sure most parents who are listening to this can probably agree. Whenever I'm not playing video games, I spend my time building Lego bricks. I'm a huge avid fan of Lego. I'm what's called an AFOL, an adult fan of Lego.
Okay.
And also playing a band who we had a little bit of success on Spotify recently. So again, I like to consider myself a jack of all trades, a master of none. So that's kind of like I said.
If I'm getting this correct, you are a traveler, a dad, a musician, and a jack of all trades.
Yeah. I mean, I try to, I'm very good. I'll say this: I'm good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
Not particularly very good at any one thing.
Okay, well, let's get this interview started. We already got I'm just gonna to chat here. We have my good friend Lost Boy. Hey, Lost Boy. We got Salty. We got CSNS. Howdy, guys. Welcome to Trail Talks. So, let's get this interview started. So, oh shit, that's Cap's questions. You're not Cap. So, here we go. Okay, first question. What made you decide to stream? Was it just like you woke up one day and decided, you know what, I'm gonna start my own YouTube channel? Or was it it's kind of hard to explain, but what inspired you to be like, yeah, I'm gonna start my own channel?
Yeah, so it really evolved over time. In fact, if you look at the start date of my channel, it was like 3 or 4 years ago. It was when I was in the midst of playing story mode. I thought it would be cool to maybe do some tutorial videos. At the time, I had like a website where I was like typing out playthrough instructions for main missions and story missions, side missions rather, story mode. And I thought it would be cool to also have a YouTube channel. And then I never did anything with it. It just sat there for probably 2 or 3 years. Then right around this time last year, in fact, Tuesday will be my 1-year anniversary for my first live stream. So right around this time last year, I was playing RDO. I had really nothing else going on. I'm like, let me try and stream this. I already had the channel set up. I just had to link it to my PlayStation account. I didn't have a microphone at the time, so if you go back and watch those old videos, which they're all archived on my channel, but if you just watch the first one, you can see I was having to hit left on the D-pad, kind of highlight the daily challenge I was going to work on next, and then go from there. It's kind of funny to think back to those early days and see how different the channel is now. Obviously, I have a microphone now. We're doing a lot of different stuff on the channel, not just daily challenges anymore. But yeah, like I said, it kind of really evolved, and it wasn't really something I even planned. I just kind of went with it. I clicked the button, I clicked the play button, and off we went that first day, and it's just kind of evolved from there. So I didn't really intend on ever calling myself a streamer or YouTube content creator. Just kind of happened one day, and here we are almost 365 days later, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. Okay, so next question is, do you only stream or do you like make other videos too? No, they stream like videos like for moments. Do you only stream or do you like create your own little funny moments with friends?
Most of it is streaming. Occasionally, whenever inspiration strikes, I'll post a video, maybe some funny gameplay, but nothing. You'll notice on my channel, I don't do a ton of editing. There's not a ton of voiceover. It's either live, like I love the live action. We talked a little bit before we started the interview here about like my background in the band and live performances. I feel like as frustrating as it can be when things go wrong sometimes, I like the live aspect of it because it's really a anything goes kind of thing. Like you're subject to whatever the universe wants to throw at you. So for me, it's either live streams or really short videos. Like I posted one the other day. I was doing a resupply, and as I was getting ready to stroll into the area where the resupply wagon was, a bunch of wolves came after me. So I was like, okay, well, let's see what happens if I just go into the camp. Will these wolves follow me? And if they do, will they attack the NPCs? And I get a big kick out of that stuff. I kind of fashion myself as the what if guy. So it's like, if the game throws something at me, I'm constantly asking myself, okay, what happens if I do this? And if I think the result's cool or funny, I may throw it on my channel just to see if everyone else likes it. And I think I have a good sense at this point for my audience. And I think, for example, that wolf one, that was kind of a home run. Everybody got a big kick out of that, watching the wolves attack the NPCs. So, but nothing. I'm not equipped at this point, at this moment in time, to do a lot of editing. And like I said, I really prefer more of a live action kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a question that I'm definitely gonna get a kick out of, but what other games besides Red Dead Online do you like to play on or off stream? Okay, just gonna point it out there real quick. You might in his chats when he's playing a certain game. We're not gonna talk about that one, but yeah. So, continuing. So, what other games besides RDO do you like to play when streaming or not streaming?
Yeah, so I really like. I mean, RDO for me at this point is tops. Ultimately, Red Dead Redemption 2 story mode was is if not my favorite game of all time, certainly top 5, and it's definitely my favorite game of like the last 5 or 10 years. Beyond that, I would say I really like Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
I would put that right up there. Horizon Zero Dawn is right up there for me. More recently, I've been playing the sequel to that, Horizon Forbidden West. But I know where you're going with this question, Laval, because you've been on my channel a few times. I like the Assassin's Creed games. I started early on. In fact, I'm an old Prince of Persia guy, which kind of, if you know anything about Ubisoft and the background there, I think they kind of abandoned the Prince of Persia project in favor of Assassin's Creed, but they're very similar games. I really like open world games, so anything that I can get my hands on in terms of that. The Far Cry series is another one. It's another open world game I really dig. But I know, more recently, Assassin's Creed. I really like the most recent trilogy with Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. I know Valhalla has a very special place in your heart because it's your homeland. It's your the gods and goddesses of your homeland,
it's that game I don't like. Okay, quick notice here, chat. You might hate me for this, but I love the Assassin's Creed games. I've played Assassin's Creed when I was a kid. I loved it. But after like Black Flag, the game's just. And when it came to Valhalla, I watched someone play it a little bit, and after 5 minutes I rage quit, because that game, you might hate me, but that game does not live up to Norse mythology. They have no respect for the Norse culture or anything. So, moving on.
Yeah, yeah, and that's funny you mentioned Black Flag. I have a buddy who's a big Assassin's Creed fan, and that's his favorite installment of those games. And that's like the one I gotta play that one. I still have not played that one. I told him I would, but I'm waiting for him to start playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I told him if he starts playing Red Dead Redemption 2, particularly online with our group here, then I would play Black Flag. So I'm in a holdout period for that at the moment.
Yeah, well, we just lost 2 viewers, and I think they didn't approve of my Assassin's Creed here, but
yes.
you know, it's fine because we all have different opinions. For example, some
It'd be
people
boring if we all like the same things, man.
yeah, for example, some people might like to play a awesome video game set in the American West, and some people might like to play something that is not Viking Simulator.
Viking Simulator Light, even. Yeah, and dude, we should throw this out there before we close the chapter on this one. I 100% agree with you. I don't play that game because I'm interested in the way they worked in Norse mythology. I like all the other stuff, the combat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I know enough about Norse mythology that I know that they totally bent the whole thing, and we can get into some other stuff too.
Yeah.
They bent the whole bunch of stuff, like the history of the settlement of it, like Ravensthorpe in England. They kind of, they just took total artistic license with that and ran with it.
I mean, the thing that made me question everything, it is that the main character, you can choose between a female and a male, and the character's name is Eivor, 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 and they don't change the name whether or not it's a man or a female. And I can tell you something, Eivor is a female's name. How do I know that? My grandmother's name is Eivor.
Nice.
Yeah. So
what would be the male if they were to do it? Would it be like Avo?
I mean, it could be Ivar.
Not even. Ivar. Okay.
Because then at least
maybe there was an
similar.
Ivar in the story, so I'm wondering, the sons of Ragnarok, right? So they did include it. Maybe they're trying to avoid that, or just trying not to re-record dialogue. But it's interesting that you're catching me on my replay of it, which I did select the male version character. But on my first playthrough, I did select as a female, which is interesting too, because I think the female is the preferred choice in the last 2 games, Odyssey and Valhalla. But in the promos for all the stuff, even now, they show the male version of Eivor.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see now. What's your plan for your channel in the future? Do you have a plan, or do you just do it day by day? Do you have a plan that you want to reach 1 million subscribers, or do you just be a casual kind of guy?
Yeah, no plan. I'm the Joker, right? I'm like the Joker in the Dark Knight. I got no plan. Even when I do try to plan things out, it never goes to plan. So you kind of have to pivot here and there. We talked about the evolution of my channel as part of your first question. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. If you would have told me, so again, Tuesday will be 1 year anniversary of live streams. If you would have told me I'd be sitting here a year later, talking about this in a public setting. The first 3-4 months on my channel, I had 3 viewers every day. So it's I try not to plan that kind of stuff too far. As far as 1 million viewers, don't get me wrong, that'd be great, but I do not have that kind of expectations. Through the band and through the Lego stuff, I actually have a Lego YouTube channel. I've been around long enough on YouTube to know now, that stuff, it's 1 in a million. Your odds of getting that many viewers and subscribers, it takes a lot of hard work and a little bit of luck. You gotta have a video or something that all of a sudden just blows up, or you gotta grind it for years and years on end. For me, it's something to do during the day. My work schedule in my real life is extremely flexible, so I just happen to notice that the people who watch my channel are online at a certain time every day, so I started going live. That changed my live stream schedule a little bit to go live at that time, and ultimately just kind of, you know, we have American football here, right? And a big thing that they talk about American football is reading the defense. So if you're a quarterback and you're on offense, how is the defense set up? And I just try to, you know, take it as it comes. Like if I do something tomorrow that people like, then I'm going to keep running with it. If I do something tomorrow that people don't like, then I'm going to shut it down and try something different. That being said, you also, like I said, you have to plan for the contingencies. So like recently I was trying to stream both Horizon Forbidden West and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and for some reason I couldn't stream those. It would get to like the 45-minute mark, and my PlayStation would just shut off. I was joking around, is it YouTube, is it Sony, what's going on? But ultimately the plan was, in that moment, was for me to do one more live stream on RDO, just kind of announce that I'm taking my channel a different direction and start doing gameplay videos similar to like a Rad Brad might do, right? Do like 45 minutes to an hour of gameplay and just upload it after the fact. Well, the RDO stream stayed up for an hour and a half. It never got shut down. So then like a few days later, I'm like, let me try this again and see if we can just do RDO. So right now, RDO is the name of the game. Now again, that could change tomorrow, but I'm gonna keep running with it because it's working and I'm having fun with it. So it seems to make sense.
Okay. Okay, a bit of a deep question here now, but have you ever had to deal with like haters or spammers when it comes to streaming? Like, you know, that some people in chat shows up and tell you like, oh, this sucks, blah blah blah, you should kill yourself. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, and you know, we could probably spend an hour and a half talking about just this, but my motto is to give those people as little attention as possible. So I want to answer your question, but I'm going to talk about it in terms of, you know, if you're watching this and you're thinking about being a streamer, or even if you're in someone's chat, ignore those people, please. You know, I try to ignore it as much as possible. Sometimes if I'm in a bad mood that day, I didn't get enough sleep that night before, I may say a little more than I want to and end up regretting it, but just, you got to ignore them. Specifically, and I think it's no secret that there's one person who's been going around to several YouTube channels and either stream sniping them or getting in their chat. In fact, they levied what I would call a threat against me yesterday, ultimately asking me if I was ready to get clapped. Those were their exact words. Which is, you gotta be careful with, guys, because I know that that person meant in the game later at someone else's community event, but you can't levy those kinds of threats against people over the internet. That's a federal offense. I mean, if I wanted to, I could report that to the authorities, and who knows what would happen to that person, but guys, just don't do it. Just don't. It's not worth going to jail over some stupid game. And the other thing I would say, Laval, for you is, and you do with this what you will, it's your channel, but I would like to share one story, because I noticed you got the on-air thing on the right hand of the screen where chat is also live in your video. I had early on, I had a bad experience with that, where someone typed the N-word into my chat, but they got away with it because they did it one letter at a time. So like they hit N, enter, I, and spelled the rest of the word. But and that's on one of my early videos now. Like I think it's like my 5th or 10th live stream, and I can't. There's no way for me to get it out of there. So I had to take the whole video down. Or I don't even know if I took the video down, but I probably should take the video down. So, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just people. So you have two kinds of people, right? You have your stream snipers who they want to disrupt what you're trying to do as a streamer, and then you have people who come into chat. But ultimately, the name of the game is the same. They're trying to disrupt what you want to do and take the attention off of you and put it on them. In which case, your best defense against that is to just ignore it. Don't give them the attention that they're seeking.
Okay. I guess we're moving on from streaming to talking about the actual game, because there's one question. Yesterday on... sorry, brain collapse. Black Knight's trail ride, which we were both part of, by the way.
Did you have fun? I had fun.
Yeah. Warfy, if you're still here, Link, do your job. But we ended up going to Wapiti.
Yes.
And I heard a lot of people saying, like, it's a shame that Rockstar did... I mean, this is actually on the first guy I interviewed, Texan Rebel. He he and I talked about like why isn't Wapiti a live settlement, or in this case a live reservation, when so many other places in, because this game, like online version, takes place years before the story mode. I know we're getting a little bit politics here, but what's your like view on Rockstar not adding Wapiti into online?
Yeah, so a couple of different things. First, as a player, particularly a player who just started an Xbox character who is Native American, it's disappointing. It is, to me, actually, I have Native American blood in me. My grandfather on my dad's side, who we thought was my step-grandfather. It's a super complicated story. Maybe we can save it for next time I come on your channel.
Yeah,
because we could spend another hour and a half talking about that as well.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he is, I don't know what tribe or ancestry he has, but I know he was Native American, and I don't even know what percentage. So, I mean, I guess I could go get one of those DNA tests done, but those tend to be not so accurate. Anyway, so it would be a waste of money, in my opinion. So that being said, I think it's disappointing that there isn't more Native American representation in the game, because I know a lot of people who do have Native American characters that they would like to be able to outfit in Native American clothing. But more importantly than that, I think the second point I would make is it is very disappointing to the state of Wapiti. I mean, it's sad. It's sad to look at. Anytime I'm up there, and you have to go up there, I'm a huge collector, so I'm up there all the time, either getting the family heirloom or the arrowhead or the jewelry that's up there. I was just there earlier on my other character doing a treasure map in Calumet Ravine. Every time I'm up there, I'm like, oh man, this sucks that they... And I don't know quite why they backed away from it. I understand there's some speculation that they were afraid that people would respond negatively to Native American characters or Native American culture within the game, and it's really, if that's the reason, it's really too bad.
Yeah.
But even just like I said, ultimately what they ended up doing to the Native American culture within the game is kind of what they were trying to, I think the point they were trying to illustrate in story mode, which, again, you said it's political, so I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but I think ultimately everybody, no matter which side of the political fence you fall on, can agree that what was done to the Native American people in our country here in America was terrible. I mean, there's no question to me about that.
I mean,
right?
Over here we have our own indigenous group called the Sami, and what you guys, I mean, yeah, you locked your indigenous people on reservation. Well, we did way worse things than what you guys did. Because, yeah, I'm not gonna go into detail on it because that's not what we're here for, but don't think that just because your country has a bad history, I mean, everyone has bad history in their country. Like, you can't go to any country in the world and not look up dark history, because there's always gonna be, like, dark periods in history, no matter where you go.
Right. And history is always written by the victor, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it's important, though, more recently in modern times, we're starting to understand, what our ancestors did. And I say ancestors, my ancestors came over on a boat from Italy and France, so I have no direct ties to what was done to the Native American people here in the country, 200 years ago. But still, I think I'm glad that we can look back now and see that stuff in a different light. Call it what it is, right? Shine the light in the darkness. Call it what it is, and that's the only true way to kind of educate people. Because if you don't have that stuff in the history books, you don't educate people on it, then you're doomed to repeat, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Okay. In your opinion, what do you think Rockstar should do to promote their game better? Like, what do you think Rockstar could do to, like, save Red Dead Online? This hashtag that's been going around for about 2-3 months now, hashtag save Red Dead Online. What is your opinion on that, and what do you think Rockstar can actually do to save the game that we all love?
Yeah, so I can answer, I think, kind of both parts of that question with the same thing. They need to be better about communication. Whether that's you know, I just think again we talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, some of the other games I play, Horizon Forbidden West. They all these games nowadays have the same problems, and the problem is they're so massive that inherently they're going to have some kind of bugs or glitches. There's just no way to avoid it. There's so much code in there. Something's going to get missed or overlap or what have you. Ultimately, I think where Rockstar's downfall is, and if they don't shape up soon, I fear for what's going to happen to their company. And it sounds like I'm not like levying a threat or anything against them, but like, you know, I know me personally, I was a huge GTA fan back in the day. I am not, at this point, going to buy, if they make a GTA 6, I'm not buying it. They got enough of my money already. They screwed everybody over with the whole 50% bug, right? Remember when PS5 first came out? Everyone was getting like the 50% loading error, and they were like, oh, unplug your machine, reset your cache, do all this stuff, and the entire time, behind the scenes, they're working on fixes. They knew it wasn't on our end. They knew it was on their end, and they were like, not only radio silent about it, but telling people, no, it's your fault. And that's like, I just, you know, that's like victim blaming to me, and I can't stand any of that kind of stuff. But as far as the hashtag goes, I think it's a good start. The problem is, like I said in the first half of my answer, Rockstar just doesn't communicate. Are they listening? Yes. Every once in a while, I think they show you that they're listening to you. Like, I personally, on my male character, if you watch my channel, I have the special outfit that they have for free, right? They had all the different pieces of clothing you could buy for free this month and put it together as like one outfit. Well, that was designed by a Redditor. So they've got somebody on social media who found that outfit on Reddit and ran with it. So it's like they're definitely hearing the community, but whether or not they're listening to the community are two separate things, right? So for me, it seems like at first probably like a cop-out answer, right? Because there are certain specific things I would love to see in this game. I would love to see more horse stalls. I would love to see like a rancher role with like properties. I mean, I could devote a whole hour and a half to
Save those questions because they're coming up.
Okay.
So save those.
Those. Okay, perfect. But I think ultimately it comes down to communication, and I'll close with this point. Horizon Forbidden West just came out, I think maybe like a month ago, maybe 5 weeks at this point. Either way, it's a fairly new game. They have been posting, I don't know if it's been once a week or twice a week or once every 2 weeks, whatever it's been. They post and they say, you know, we are working to improve our game. We know there's bugs. We appreciate you guys sending us your feedback because that's what helps us fix the bugs. Please continue to send us your feedback. I mean, you can go to Instagram right now, go to Guerrilla Games Instagram page, and you'll see a picture of like patch 1.05, and in the text of it, like they are begging their fans, their community, their customers for feedback so that they can improve their game. And when I saw that, I was like, I mean, I'm so used to dealing with Rockstar and not having anything even close to that when I saw that post by Guerrilla Games, I was like, okay, I'm a fan for life, because that's all it takes. Admitting, like, I used to work with a guy in my real life job who, he would always say, if you go to the dentist and he just reaches into your mouth and starts pulling teeth, you're not going to have a pleasant experience. If you go to the dentist, he says, look, man, we got to pull a tooth, but it's going to be okay. We're going to give you some Novocaine first. You'll be in and out in a half hour. It's gonna hurt. It will hurt, but we'll give you some meds so that lessen the pain or whatever.
Hang on a minute, Outlaws.
You're gonna have a better experience.
Yeah, but hang on a minute, Outlaws. Rose here has a question. Laval, if you see this, what hat are you wearing? I'm wearing the gambler's hat. My outfit.
Yeah,
we can actually do this. Take a quick break for a second.
Yeah, sure. I'll get a drink.
My outfit here is Landon Ricketts from the cigarette card in story mode, you know, where you can find those cigarettes card, and I based my outfit on Landon Ricketts when he was in his prime. So there's the question. Sitting down, waiting for Outlaws to return.
I'm back.
Okay, that was a quick drink.
Yeah. Well, it was just water. I'm not drinking a beer or anything.
Well, yeah, well, leave. Okay, about that. I need to get a hold on like 10 truckloads of beer about this point, so...
Yeah, there was something about first 5 people, I remember. You kind of set yourself up for failure with that one.
Yeah. Okay, but now that we got that question out, we can move on, and that is... is there a specific thing that you personally would like to see Rockstar add into RDO? Like, do you want a specific horse, a specific gun, specific clothes, invite-only servers, or map customization? Or like a role expansion? So what do you want to see?
Yeah, I mean, if I could only pick one, I would say right off the jump, invite only or friends only servers. And I get what they were trying to do with this initial concept, right? It's supposed to be the Wild West, so no, it's not supposed to be all rainbows and butterflies. But for those of us who do like just riding around the map and being left alone, I mean, I had an experience earlier on my male character. Excuse me, 1 second. Sorry. On my male character, where I was doing it's pelicans a daily today. I was at Pelican Island, plucking a couple pelicans. I just happened to luck out and actually get 2 right in that same area. Thankfully, I had plucked them before this happened. But then some random player. Now I'm riding a defensive. I'm just doing dailies. I want to be left alone. Some guy snipes me from the top of the rocks overlooking Quaker's Cove, and it's like, that's not what it was either in the Wild West, right? If Rockstar's whole thing was we want to be Wild West, we want to be real, well, nobody was. I mean, they were, but obviously, if you were running up to somebody and shooting in the back, you would then be on the run and be wanted for a lot longer than you are in the game.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know that anybody really did that, right? That's like to me. 100 years later, 130 years later, whatever, it's still the ultimate act of cowardice to run up and shoot an unsuspecting person in the back.
Hang on, we just got a message from Capt.B. Ryle. Rockstar doesn't communicate because Rockstar doesn't care. Besides, what would they say? You not getting shit? Shut up and play.
Yeah.
Cap once again.
Yeah, he's not wrong. I mean,
he's not wrong. He's not
wrong. They only care about the money. But the irony is, man, and I still don't. It just doesn't make sense to me. I consider myself like a businessman to some degree. I don't understand the business model of what Cap is saying right there. I agree with what he's saying because he's not wrong. To me, I get the same sense that that's what Rockstar thinks. They're only in it for the money. Well, you can only get away with that for so long before people start to catch on. And like I said, I don't know. I'm sure GTA 6 will still sell record number of copies, but why? Why are we doing this? We do it to ourselves, right? So everybody who complains about the state of GTA or the state of RDO, stop giving them your money. Would be my whole thing. Like I won't buy another thing from them until we get this whole thing here sorted out. But to answer your question, I think if I you've mentioned a lot of great things, and again we probably dedicate a whole hour and a half just to things I would like to see in the game. Ultimately, it would be invite only or friends only lobbies. I mean, again, you mentioned Black Knight's trail ride yesterday. There wasn't a ton of shenanigans going on. There was that one moment when we were all at Emerald Ranch, which I don't think that was anything nefarious. I think it was just people happened to see a large group of people. They thought it'd be funny to throw some dynamite in the middle of it. That's them having their version of fun. Well, that's fine. Let them go have that version of fun in a different server from the one that we're in, as we're trying to have a nice community trail ride.
Yeah. Well, I've been like in previous interviews and stuff like that, I've always asked people what do they want added, and what comes up most is that they want like rancher role. And I would definitely love to have something like that, but I would also like last week when I interviewed Cap, he would like to have either the lawman role or the outlaw role. And if you have like many people have 2 characters, like one could be a lawman and one could be an outlaw. So yeah, I mean, there's some good things in this game that Rockstar has the opportunity to, and Rockstar, if you're listening right now, take notes, okay? I'm coming for you. But oh shit. But like, there's so many things that Rockstar should do in this game, like the YouTuber Man vs. History. Warfare, if you're put that link here, Man vs. History, put that link right there. Not sure why, but just do it. But he has some ideas like how to create a historically accurate mountain man, vaquero, cowboy, lawman, outlaw. And he is amazing because he does his research, he goes through files, like everything. And I think that Rockstar should hire Man vs. History to be like one of their idea creators. Like, okay, we can add this into the game.
Right.
Have you seen Man vs. History?
Not a lot. I'm aware of his channel. I maybe watched a couple videos, but
Yeah.
not. I need to take a deeper dive, and that's true of a lot of channels. I mean, between my streaming, everything I do from my channel, hanging out with people in their channels, and
Mm.
obviously my personal life, it gets the it's very hard to do all of the things I would like to do in a single day.
Yeah.
But I definitely I want to make a note to go check out more of his videos.
Yeah. Okay.
But before we move on, Laval, sorry, I just
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to.
yeah.
I
Move.
agree. Again, Cap and I see a lot of eye to eye on a lot of things, and that's another one. It would be cool, and I know Brandy mentioned, I think during her interview, how she thought that was what Blood Money was going to be, like
Yeah.
a low honor kind of role. And I agree with Cap. You have to pick a side. No more of this like. And actually, I was just talking about it on my channel the other day in regards to naturalists, right? So naturalists, you get Harriet and you get Gus, and you get the missions from Harriet to either sample or kill the animal. Well, that's weird to me. Like, you shouldn't be able to kill the animal in the mission from the one person who doesn't want you to kill the animals. And this is just one example. I'm certainly no pacifist or whatever. But to me, if you want to kill the legendary animal, you should have to go to Gus and pick up the mission that way. If you want to sample the animal, you have to go to Harriet and pick up the mission that way. So yeah, to Cap's point, I think it would be cool. And you could still, if you wanted to experience both sides of that, bandit or outlaw or be the lawman, you could still do that. You just have to create a second character in order to do that. And I'm all for it. I mean, I just created a character on my Xbox where I'm purposefully not killing any animals. So I have absolutely no use for Gus.
Yeah.
In fact, I was asking my channel, like, people who have Native American characters, where do they get their clothing from? And somebody's like, well, go check out Gus. I'm like, well, that's not going to work for me because I'm also not killing any animals. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it would be nice to kind of see a little bit more of that, specificity amongst the roles, as opposed to just having all 5 roles or all 6 roles, like if they have an extra role or whatever.
Like, when I did my first interview, once again with Texan Rebel, he was the first guy I interviewed. He is a role player, and he's a mountain man, so he likes to be outside, he likes to hunt, and he wants mountain man stuff added into this game, like, buckskin clothes and stuff like that. And I agree, because, well, right now I'm wearing a 3-piece suit, but, I like to be wearing buckskin clothes on occasion. But the Rowbarrow jacket that came out in Quick Draw Club 2, I think, he was hella excited for that, but that turned into a shit show accordingly to him, because people got mad for everyone wearing the exact same clothes, and people would get into fights like, you can't be wearing that jacket, I've been wearing that jacket longer than you, so you can't wear it. And I mean, first of all, grow up. Second of all, Rockstar has an opportunity here to like give us clothes that we can customize ourselves. Do you think that would be something like, adding clothing customization?
Absolutely, especially because, and I'm kind of surprised this didn't come up. We probably just didn't have enough time with Black Knight, but her and I share the opinion that the color schemes are off. Like, it's like 4 different shades of green. The shade of green in the pants never matches the shade of green in the shirt. Never matches. Like, with Blondie here, I like to have her have a bow in her hair. Well, the satin ribbon bow never has the same color as the shirt, the corresponding shirt. It's either too light or too dark of a green, or too light or too dark of a blue. It's like, give me the option to change that. And I don't know how you do that. I know in Forbidden West they had a big thing where, like, there were a lot of different plants all over the map that you could pick up the plants, and if you bring them to a dyer, the dyer could then make you a more colorful outfit. So maybe it's something like that, and then in the process they could also expand upon the herbs and everything that we go run around collecting. I think they could do something like that, and also tie it into the horses, the different coats on the different horses. Let me take 2 types of horse coats, breed the horses, and maybe I get the coat I'm looking for. Maybe I don't, but if I don't, then I can sell it to somebody like Clyde and Clive or whatever their names are, the twins there from the story, the horse fence, right?
Yeah.
And if you get the one you want, then it's like, oh, cool, I got the one I want. I've been trying to get this one for a while. Like, I don't know. There's just different things they could do in terms of customization. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Cap said something interesting about his interview because he wants the rancher role, like really, really. And I'm also like up to have my own ranch and stuff like that. But he said like we should have like legendary horses, and I agree with him because like in story mode there is this horse coat that I've been dying to get into online, and that is the Few Spotted Appaloosa. It was my favorite horse in story mode. I had it from chapter 2 all the way to the end, and then in epilogue I went to look for another one. I loved the Few Spotted Appaloosa, and I just want that horse in this game. And legendary horses, like Cap said, if you want that horse, then you're gonna have to buy gold for a saddle that only fits this specific horse, and you can sell your horse, because to be completely honest, all my horses, all my Missouri Foxtrotters, yes, they cost a whole lot of money. And I think the most expensive one was 45 gold, and if I decide to get rid of these horses one day, I won't get like any money back. Like it's I'm buying a car, and then when I'm selling the car, I don't get anything out from selling the car, you know?
Right.
So it feels like Rockstar did everything correct for story mode, but they failed online.
Yeah, and even in story mode, it's pennies on the dollar that you get for a horse that you're turning in if you bought it. But still, it's something. To your point, if you're spending 45 gold on a horse and it doesn't work out, and let's be honest, even with the 45 gold, there's no guarantee it's going to be the horse that you really thought you were getting, because it might not be bravest horse, or what. I'm big on the bravery thing, so I got that's like.
I mean,
that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me if I spend $5 on a horse or 42 gold on a horse. If it's not brave, I'm probably not gonna be riding it around.
Yeah, and like if you buy a horse for 500 RDO cash, and you fully bond with it, but you feel like it doesn't work out, then you should at least be given back 250. You should at least get half the money from what you bought from it.
Right. Yeah. So it'll feel so bad, but then that way people aren't taking advantage of. Like, you should not be able to sell it for more than what you paid for it. It shouldn't be like some kind of money-making scheme you can do, but it should be, you know, that whole discard option, and then everybody making jokes about what happens to the horses when you discard them. You know, that could be okay with being a thing of the past.
I've heard that one. I mean, I've heard that they make glue out of horse hoofs.
Yeah, some places do. Other people like to think that they go off to a farm in Mexico, and that they're being maintained and managed by Diana's cousins, I think it is. But either way, yeah, it's just something, so that's not just throwing the horse on the trash heap after you're done with it because it didn't work out to be the horse that you thought it would be.
But I mean,
and I'll say,
I mean that's a beautiful thing. Like, they go to Mexico and they're being taken care of. But I have a very dark soul, so yeah, it's definitely the glue factory for me.
Yeah, glue factory for you. All right.
Or the butcher.
I'm probably somewhere in between. I'm not quite the optimist, but also not quite the pessimist.
Chat.
Maybe my horse that I discard gets sold to somebody else, maybe a new player when they're watching it.
Yeah, chat, don't buy meat from the butcher in Tumbleweed. You don't know where that meat comes from. Yes. It might be one of my old horses you're eating. There goes the subs. Okay, but Okay, now we've gone like through Act 1 and 2, and now
Yeah.
it's time for my favorite, the one I like to call the Miss Kitty Jones Special Edition question.
All right.
And, okay, so, when I did Miss Kitty's interview, she interrupted me in the middle of questions to ask me a few questions. And I was like, okay. I regretted it, but it was very funny. So,
Yeah.
out of all the characters in game, which one would you go on a date with? Play fuddle cake with, if you catch my drift on that. And which one would you marry?
Okay, so I did see the interview with Miss Kitty, and I really appreciate this question. This is such a fun question, and I
Yeah.
hope that you continue this in future interviews because it's a great question.
I my interviewers like, okay, now they actually have to think like, which one of the characters in story mode from camp would I, yeah. So go right ahead. Basically, I was gonna keep this PG-13, but it's basically who would you fuck, who would you marry, and who would you kill? But not killed yet. We're going to kill later. But who would you?
It would be Kiss, right? So
Yeah,
not kill.
who?
It's funny because we used to play a game. My friends and I. Oh gosh, back in my younger years, we were so mean. We would play a game. It's basically called F Marry Kill, but the caveat there was it was like the less attractive of celebrities. And it really forced you to think, because then it's like, okay, I would definitely kill this person because I really can't stand them. But then you'd have two people left who maybe weren't the most savory of partners that you have to either have sleep with or marry and be with them forever. So it made it a little more challenging. This I actually think is this version of the game, it's better, and it's like you said, it's good for PG-13. So for me, I'm always gonna have a soft spot in my heart for Sadie.
You
she
okay,
would
but
marry.
you
work
would
backwards.
marry Sadie. Okay, marry
Yes,
Sadie.
absolutely.
Who would
she
you?
Is, I mean,
Okay.
she's just tops for me.
Okay.
Physically attractive, in my opinion, but also because that's not the only thing. She's a badass. She's not afraid to mix it up and get dirty. Obviously, some of the stuff that happens with the O'Driscolls, which we'll save for anybody who hasn't seen it. I don't want any spoiler alerts. But then also the fact that even here online, when you meet Jake, you can tell he is. I don't want to say he's useless. Well, maybe he is useless. He's useless without her. You know, you go do the bear hunt mission. He's like, I'm not much of a hunter. Sadie's always been the better shot. So like, that's cool to me. That's sexy. In my own personal relationship in real life with my wife, we got to share duties. To me, that's the ultimate. The ultimate key to a successful marriage.
I was just gonna say, I'm glad your wife isn't here to listen to this because
she knows. She knows I'm obsessed with Sadie. She's heard me talk about Sadie
good.
More than anybody else.
So you would marry Sadie. Who would you have a one night stand with?
So this is where I'm gonna get myself in trouble. So Lady Outlaws, if you're listening, please mute or turn this video off. Karen Jones. I just think she seems like a lot of fun. You know, if you do the mission, you have to with the story mission. If you do the story mission where you go back to the bank in Valentine with her, she makes you choose between the drunken harlot or the lost little girl. I'm drunken harlot all the way with her. I think she seems like she'd be a lot of fun for one night, but then the drinking and her alcohol abuse eventually would wear on me, just like it does with Reverend Swanson. Eventually, drunk people get to be annoying, so it couldn't be much more than that. It couldn't be much more than
drunk people tend to be annoying. Oh, I know, because I have to deal with drunk Clyde.
Nice. But yeah, so that would be my answer for as far as one night. One evening under the stars.
If Lady Outlaws is watching right now, don't be too mad on him. Be mad at me because I forced him. So don't make him sleep on the couch.
Yes, nice. And then as far as a date or a kiss, this may be a little controversial. I think it depends on how old you think the characters are in the game. So, like, do you think there's anyone? To me, they're all like over 21, maybe at least
Yeah.
over 18.
Yeah.
So, like, I have a soft spot for Mary Beth.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
And I think it would be an amazing kiss because she's big into like the romance novels, and I think it would be probably the most passionate one kiss you ever had in your life. So
Yeah.
if you could tap into that, I think that would be my answer. Now I know some people, I think may think she's a little underage. So if you think that, then just forget what I said, because that's not cool. But I happen to think she's like a little older, like maybe in her 20s, 20, 21,
Mm,
at least 21.
yeah. Okay. So moving on, we're continuing with these questions. Which one? But now, which one would you like to go out to have a drink with? Like two friends just going to the bar. Which
Mhm.
one would you take advice from, and which one would you hang from a high tree?
Hang from a tree. Oh, I thought you were going to ask me who I'd like to have in my posse.
Oh yeah, who would you like to have in your posse too?
Okay,
And
so I'll
who
do
would?
both then. I'll do both hang from a high tree and also have in the posse.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm gonna go through these in order, not backwards like I did with the females, but with the to me it's all males in this case. Drink with it's got to be Arthur. I
okay.
mean that mission, that story mission with him and Lenny. I mean you talk about
Yeah,
having a good time.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
like
yeah,
the epitome of having a good time. So yeah, I
yeah,
would like to have a drink with Arthur, and then if maybe get to know him a little more too. Like, he talks a lot about in the later chapters about his life prior to the beginning of the game, before the events of the game, and
yeah,
I'd like to maybe get a little more information as far as that goes.
yeah,
As far as who I would like to get advice from, I think you and I share an answer. And correct me if I'm wrong. You said Hosea, right?
yeah.
When Miss Cody, yes, yes. I agree, 100%. I just think again, Hosea has lived a life that most of the characters haven't. He's older. I always refer to him, and someone gave me a hard time for this one time in one of my chats. He is as much as you can be in a Wild West environment where you're part of an outlaw gang. He's the
Mm,
moral compass, right?
yeah,
Like he's always like, okay, we need to do this robbery, but is it the right time? Are we going about it the right way? And it comes from a place of not where he's like second guessing Dutch, but
mm,
he's like, it's like, let's just make sure first. Let's double check. Let's triple check. Let's make sure we get it right. Because if you follow the story, and I won't go too far into it because again I don't want to spoil anybody who hasn't seen it, but when they stop listening to Hosea is when it really starts to get ugly. And I feel
mm,
like they lost that quote unquote. Maybe moral compass isn't the right word, but they lose that, and then ultimately we all know how it ends. Those of us who've played it.
yeah,
But I just think there's so many. He was pretty much. I think he was married, right? So he can offer insight into that,
mm,
um, insight into how do you be married and also live this rough and tumble life. Like, just I don't know. There's something about him. He seems very much like a grandfather, if you will, or at least, very least, a father figure who I think has a lot of knowledge to share, good knowledge to
mm,
share.
mm.
Um, as far as hang from a tree,
No, no,
I
no.
mean,
Who would you like to ride in
oh, you
a
want
posse
the
with?
posse one first? Okay,
Yeah.
posse one first for me is Charles Smith.
Hmm.
I think he just he again very measured approach to everything. Right, you play the mission, the story mission where they have the
Yeah.
attack on the fort there.
Yeah.
It's not like just Russian guns. He's the antithesis of a Micah, right? He's not just going to rush in guns blazing. He's not. He doesn't have a vengeful bone in his heart, at least in his body, at least to me.
Hmm.
Very measured. Plan. Every time you do a mission with Charles, it's planned out. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. And 9 times out of 10, if you look at the missions you do with Micah versus the missions you do with him, his missions are more. I mean, they're all successful at the end of the day, right? But his missions are
Hmm.
not as chaotic. It's not as much of a crap fest
Hmm.
because of said planning and said uh, measured thought and accountability.
Hmm.
Um, and I just think he's another one. He's lived a pretty cool life. Obviously, it can't be easy for someone half black, half Native American in the time
Hmm.
setting that they're in. So it'd be cool to kind of just like maybe not have a beer with him, but hang out with him on a daily basis, either in camp or go out on hunting trips with him. I'm always fascinated by his character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's he'd be a pretty cool posse member. Oh, and I should add, in the same breath, he's not above outright killing someone because they deserve it. And I don't think I'm spoiling anything here because technically it's a companion mission. But when him and Arthur go on the buffalo hunt mission in the story, and they eventually get to the guys who are killing the buffalo and why they're killing the buffalo, he just freaking blows the dude's head off. There's not even a second.
Yeah.
The sawed-off shotgun's out of his holster and in the guy's face before he can even blink an eye.
Yeah.
And that to me is badass. That's true badassery.
Yeah. Okay, so who would you like to hang from a high tree? And I think we all know the question. We all know the answer to this, but feel free to answer anyway.
It's two answers, really. For me, the obvious choice is Micah. Anybody who said Micah, I wouldn't disagree with them. But there are some other people, some other players along the way who definitely need to get theirs. And you know, I'm trying to think of like a better answer than just saying Micah because it's so obvious. I'll say this: Agent Milton, and here's why. And we talked about before we went on live. You and I talked about not getting too far into politics, and I don't want to do that. But my answer is going to skirt around the edge of this kind of stuff.
Okay, I can make like an exception for 5 minutes.
And it's not really politics. At least to me, it's not politics.
Yeah.
Currently, in our country here in America, there are varying opinions on law enforcement.
Yeah.
Some people view law enforcement as the devil. Like, there should be no reason for law enforcement. Get rid of it altogether.
Yeah.
And other people, like myself, who have friends, and I have a lot of friends who are in law enforcement, I don't necessarily agree with that notion. And it's unfortunate because what has happened here is it's not one bad apple ruining the bunch, but it's several bad apples. I think any cop would be the first one to admit that there are bad apples within every police force, but that's true of any work environment.
Yeah.
Someone like an Agent Milton who does the things that he does and goes about his career choice the way that he does is bad for everybody, because now, like I said, his type of person has ruined any kind of good law enforcement that's going on out there. So some of the things that he says, and I get that he has a job to do, right? His job is to track down these outlaw gangs and kind of bring them into the fold of what was becoming a more civilized society, but it's the way he goes about it. One of my big fan theories is, and you'll hear me talk about this a lot on the channel, is that Matt Callender is still alive. I don't believe a word he says in that scene where they're fishing, and he tells him that he tells Arthur right in front of Jack that he killed Mac. Because Mac was going to die anyway. It was a mercy killing, right? One of the general rules of writing, to me, has always been, if you don't see someone die on screen, they're not dead. But more importantly, for the topic of conversation and the question that you asked, because again, I could spend an hour and a half talking about my theory, there's just no reason for that. There's no reason for him to even say that to Arthur. He's almost bragging about it in a way, and he's doing it in front of a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Messed up, man. That is if Agent Milton got hung from a tree and struggled while dying, I would not shed a single tear.
Yeah. Okay, but you said here something that is very interesting, and I've kind of picked this up along the way, but apparently the story mode, the story missions in online, with Jessica Leclerc and all that Horley is the one who is behind it all. Like, he is the one who is behind the murder. But you said here something very interesting, and that is, if they don't die on screen, that means they're still alive. Do you think that Mr. Leclerc might still be alive? Because we don't know.
It's possible.
We don't know who he is, what he looks like. I mean, I could have run him over like 10 times already, not knowing, with my horse. I mean, it could be that.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, it's a possibility. So again, I've watched enough TV and film at this point where nothing is outside the realm of possibility. In fact, and I don't want to ruin anything for any other games, but kind of along the same lines of what we're discussing.
Mm.
There's a character in Horizon Zero Dawn who we all thought was, well, not we all, a lot of people probably thought, basically, if you follow the story they're trying to tell you, it's like, okay, this guy's probably dead, but you see kind of everybody else die, and it's like, okay, we never saw that guy die. Well, they answer that question in the second game. I'm not going to say what the answer is, but they do answer that question as to whatever happened to him. So I think, if Rockstar ever gets off their asses, which maybe they won't, they probably won't, it would be kind of cool. What if he's still alive? What if the whole thing that we did with Jessica, the big plot twist is everything we did with Jessica to kind of round up and avenge her husband's death, turns out that he's really still alive. Now, it's a little different when you have characters like her who are saying that they're dead. I have no reason to believe that he's not dead based on her grief and her reaction. But do we know if she ever saw the body? I mean, I don't know. I'm not that familiar enough with the story mode within our.
I mean,
missions,
what you
it's a
said.
good question, and I'm gonna go back and pay a little more attention next time I play those missions.
What you just said here, like, we avenge her husband and everything like that, and we are put out to be like the good guys because we're helping a widow and everything to avenge her husband's death. But if it turns out that he's actually alive, then we have blood money on our hands.
Yeah, we've been set up, right? And
yeah, we are the bad guys.
Yeah,
that could be an interesting. That could be an interesting plot twist. Rockstar.
Yeah.
Take notes. I just figured it out.
Yeah, and I don't know that they're ever going to answer that stuff. To me, I think they're probably never going to finish those story missions. Whether they ever intended to or not can be debated as well. I think maybe it's supposed to be ambiguous. Like, maybe we're not supposed to know. But I love the different fan theories. I love that fan theory. I love Cap's a big proponent of that one. And he says you could see Horley reach for his gun. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that Horley was behind it, and he did it because he's in love with Jessica, and he knew that if he got the husband out of the way, he could spend more time with her. Who knows, man? The sky is the limit. That's what I love about storytelling.
I think that, I know what you're talking about. It is when we go to Fort Mercer with all these armor and stuff like that, and Horley reaches for his gun. I don't think that necessarily has to do with the fact that he was aiming to shoot, because you can still point your gun at someone as a threatening matter, like, shut the fuck up, or I'll kill you. But, like that. So I don't think that Horley has any, thing to do with it, and this is Red Dead conspiracy theory. Oh, that's a good idea. Might be my future, fuck. Might be a show that I'm gonna do in the future.
Yeah, it could make for an interesting video, covering all the different fan theories around that and sharing your own thoughts. But yeah, it's funny because I try not to think too far ahead and let the storytellers do the story they're going to write, but it's also, you can't avoid it. It's fun to kind of speculate and say, oh, here's what could be a possibility, and, it'd be fun to one day find out who was right. But I don't know. I don't get the sense that they're going to finish that stuff ever.
No, unfortunately not. The only thing we can do is pray and hope. Okay, well, people, we are over the 1 hour limit. So, in case no one in chat has any questions, then I want to thank Outlaws so much for coming here to, well, not the studio, but I guess the camp to share his views. I highly recommend you check out Outlaws from the West. Do you have anything to say about your channel before?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything. The one thing I would say about my channel is I'm most proud of the fact that you never know what you're gonna get with my channel. I don't script anything out. I just gotta fly by the seat of my pants. I think my favorite moment from this last week of live streams was I was out collecting and I happened to come across a stranger who needed assistance, and a la Bob Mumford, I took him with me and we had a great time. We named him I took names from the chat, so I try to keep it as interactive as possible with chat. You know, we gave them like 7 different names. I even added a few myself, but yeah, it's a fun thing to do. You never like I don't want anyone to ever watch my channel and say, well, I know him today. He's gonna do dailies.
Sorry, but don't listen to Cap. Don't eat oleander.
Yeah.
Don't eat oleander.
No, I'm not gonna do that. That's his thing. That's kind of like what I was trying to say. Like I try to let everyone do their thing. You know, I have my own kind of style. I'll do my thing, but you know, that's I'm most proud of on my channel. I think I finally found like a voice.
Yeah. Black Knight just joined in the chat at the last few minutes. So welcome, Black Knight, and
yeah,
sorry
we ended up starting early. We ended up starting an hour early.
We have to start early because my grandma is cooking steak tonight. So yeah, we had to start this early.
I'm not gonna cap. I'm not laughing at you.
Yeah. Okay, but without further ado, I'm gonna...
Thanks, Laval. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, Outlaws. And if you're watching this on the replay, guys, feel free to leave a comment. And feel free to, you know, say, hey, can you interview me sometime in the future? And I will look into it. There's no wrong question. There's no stupid question. There's only stupid answers. Remember that. But without further ado, remember, guys, keep your nose in, your eyes along the skyline, and watch your topknot. Good luck out there, pilgrims, and I will see you all out on the trail. Take care, guys.